It's the one thing we never really talk about.
3, 2.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to the channel today as I sit here and sip a hot cup of Blackout Coffee. The link's below in the description. Make sure you check out Blackout Coffee for some of the finest coffee in the land. All right, let's get to the reason why you came. I'm going to make this short and sweet. We got all this advice over the internet, blogs, barbershop talk. What is the number one thing to consider before I buy my first gun? Now, that can go a lot of different ways, but here's what I believe everyone should consider before they buy their first gun. Who are you arming? That should be the number one thing you consider. And what do I mean by that? What does it mean? Who am I arming? Who are you? Okay, so I'm not here to tell you that you can't own a gun because of your religious beliefs, your gender, your financial status, whatever else you like. That's none of my concern. You have a right to defend yourself. What I mean by who are you arming a citizen who wants to make sure they can protect themselves and their family? Are you someone who believes in, making sure you can repel tyranny if it comes your way? One of those things or something in between or something like it or both? Cool. But are you a fool? Are you an uncontrollable idiot? Do you have rage attacks? Now look, I want to make something straight. You can be an asshole all you want. That does not mean you shouldn't own a gun, right? There's a big difference between being an asshole and then being someone who is uncontrollable, unpredictable, and will do anything at the drop of a dime and they have a firearm on them. So the first thing to consider once again is who are you arming? And only you can answer that. You have to be honest with yourself. If you are still dealing with controlling your emotional outburst, then maybe you should address that first before you get into gun ownership, right? So an example would be we see road rage incidents all the time, right? If you haven't managed how to control that, do you want to bring a gun to the situation? Because what people need to understand is that once you own a gun, your responsibility level kicks up a lot. You are responsible for what happens in that situation because you're bringing a gun to the situation. So look, if you can't control yourself, if you're still ready to fight, if you still come from that, mentality of I've been there, done that, I was, military or I was in the streets fighting or whatever the case may be. And as soon as somebody says something disrespectful to me, I'm ready to do whatever and take them out. Look, man, that's cool, but I'm here to tell you, you think you tough. You ain't that tough. My job for 10 years in law enforcement was to put people in cages. I took them from one cage to the next, hundreds of people at a time. And I'm here to tell you, you ain't that tough. There are very few people on planet Earth that are ready to do something and then sit in a cage for 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, 100 years. Very, very few. All right. Most of the tough guys and tough girls that were tough on the streets, by the time they get to me and reality starts setting in, I had to strip them out of their clothes and put them in a paper gown and make sure they couldn't hang themselves, right? Because reality starts to set in. So the first thing you need to consider is who are you arming? I know we talk a lot, and we should, about medical classes. We talk about, situational awareness and training for that and all the soft skills. But here's something I would advise everyone to take despite where you are at in your gun ownership journey. How about a de-escalation class? How about that, right? Making sure that you know how to handle conflict, right? If there's a concealed carry class offered in your area, in your state, take it anyway, at least so you get to know the laws, right? Maybe you're an expert shot. Let's call you an expert shot. And let's say you'll never leave your state, so you don't need reciprocity. Great. You still need someone that understand the laws to explain them to you so you don't get yourself in trouble. So the number one thing to consider above all before buying your first gun is consider who are you arming and have you prepared yourself to be a responsible gun owner that avoids conflict, looks to de-escalate, can see something, wrong from a mile away, knows how to get away from the situation, can check that tough person inside of you, you know, the person that used to fight in the streets, the person that used to fight in the bars, you know, that person, you can't be that person anymore. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't, right? So take all those things into consideration. Who are you arming? And it doesn't mean that if you come to the conclusion that, hey, maybe I do have some things to address them. I want to see everyone who can be armed with a firearm being armed. But here's something we need to remember. I've been saying this for a while now. A gun is one of two things. It is either a tool of freedom or a tool of oppression. And you can oppress yourself if you are overreacting and trying to be tough when you're carrying a gun. Guns are wonderful tools to keep you alive. They give you a fighting chance in almost every situation. But you don't want to become the person that's uncontrollable, that's irate. And look, this is coming from somebody who used to have a lot of problems with anger. Guns honestly calmed me down because I understood the consequences if I used them wrong, right? So, but to each their own. We all have a different story. I'm not the tough guy that I once thought I was. I don't pretend to be tough. I have more guns than many. And I am not out bullying people. I'm not out looking for conflict. I don't want any conflict. You win every gunfight that you are not in. I don't want any problems with anyone. None. And I mean that. If we can't talk it out and be rational or just walk away, I don't crave conflict. And I would advise you, before you get into gun ownership, make sure that you've conditioned your heart, because you don't want conflict. That whole, I wish a MF would, and I'm ready to do this and do that. Only realistically, yeah, I guess we're all guilty of talking like that at one point or another, but really that's fool talk. We don't want any conflict with anybody. I like to tell people, I just wish MF wouldn't. Just leave me alone, right? Leave me alone. So that's all I wanted to say to you, man. Very short, sweet, and to the point. The number one thing to consider before you buy your first gun is, who are you arming? And how can you make that individual, being yourself, better so the gun does not become a tool of oppression? No point of you going to buy a gun and that gun leading you to prison. That's the opposite of freedom. And we want it to be a tool of freedom for you, the people around you, your loved ones. You don't know who that gun can save one day. And we don't want it to put you in prison. Okay, so number one thing you consider right there. That being said, if you like the hoodie behind you, go ahead, go to nootherchoice.com. Get that Harriet with a smack the sugar honey iced tea out of your hoodie. If you like this one here, this is, move the strings here. Don't make me act uncivil about my civil rights. All right, go over to the nootherchoice.com. Check that out. Look for classes, look for, accessories, help your boy out, man. There's some stuff over there. You got to go shop at the website. But that being said, I've been your man, KD. I hope this helps somebody. I hope you guys share it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be bringing you a lot of the gun content that you are used to, but I'm also going to be bringing a lot of the conversations we don't have out loud, and we need to. So I hope you enjoy. But once again, remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you can be alerted to when we're live. And double check and make sure you're subscribed, because even though this is a small channel over here, sometimes people mysteriously are unsubscribed. I know I have that problem on my larger channel on Instagram all the time. So just make sure you're subscribed. Share this video out with friends. Once again, leave your comments below, man. If you got a story about how you had to calm yourself down, or maybe a close encounter of you overreacting to a situation because you were over emotional, share it. Your story could help somebody out too. We never know how our words can reach somebody. A lot of people that we help never comment. They're just reading and absorbing. So leave your comments below, man. I encourage it. But that being said, be your man, KD. And remember, above all, be prepared for when there is no other choice. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.